Hi, it's Dagon here, and it's almost Christmas. I don't know when I'll post this, it might be after, but I'm going to make a special treat for Christmas. Can you guess what it is? It's going to be a pecan pie. It's really simple, so let's get at it. This is going to have a homemade crust, though, so I'm going to start with that. So let's get hot and start cooking these pies in the kitchen. Let me run through the ingredients first. This is everything you need. A can of evaporated milk. About a cup. This is a little over a cup, about a cup and a half of pecan halves. You can use chopped ones too. I also have chopped ones, but I might make some pralines. Some beautiful sugar, old standard Caro syrup. Some people use some Caro, some maple syrup. You can do kind of what you like. I use the light golden brown sugar. Normal white flour for the crust. And some shortening. Shortening. And then here's beautiful vanilla. And some Dairy Gold butter. You know, the kitchen to me is kind of like a science lab because you experiment and you can do things. There's certain rules that are set, but you can also do a lot of other things. So let's get going. It's about having fun, and you might just make something great. I'll probably make a Frankenstein, but then I'd like that. So take care, and let's get to that crust. Okay, now for the pie crust, we put a cup of flour. These sifters are really great. You should really get one if you cook or bake. Then you're going to put half a teaspoon of salt. That's simple. Then you just sift it into the bowl. These are good if you make pizza dough or anything. I think it helps a lot. It has a measurement inside, but I usually measure it up. So I'm only going to make the one crust. You don't need the top. I think these are the same they've always been. They probably have fancy ones. I just use old-fashioned. So next we're going to put in some shortening. Some people, depends on the crust, but you can also use butter. But I usually use that if it's like maybe a salmon en croûte or even a quiche. Some pies. You can even put half and half. Or they even have butter-flavored shortening. Butter makes a little different, so we're going to add this. Okay, now I've put in 1/3 of a cup of shortening in the flour. This is called my Edward Scissorhands, but you want to kind of cut it in till it's like little pea-sized pieces. But I think it's easier to use the knives. When you make the butter one, it's hard because your hands are warm, so it makes it melt. So you can refrigerate the bowl, but I'm going to cut this up. I don't want to be too tedious on here. Okay, now you can see it's like little peas shape. But next you take ice water. If you have cold water, that's good, but I have ice water. Now you could also do this with a food processor. This is kind of like the caveman version, but I don't have a lot of space here. My kitchen's real small. You put like a tablespoon at a time and just kind of mix it up. You want it to get moist, but not too moist. If it is a little too moist, you can always add some more flour. But you kind of, I'll just pour some. Pour a little more, little at a time. You don't want to go too fast. It's like hot sauce, unless you're like some of these awesome channels where they can eat these peppers and everything. I admire them, but I also feel for them. So yeah, just little by little. So I'll jump ahead. Okay, let me show you this because it's starting to come together here where it's getting a little moist. You don't want any of the loose flour. See how it's all kind of coming together. So it's almost ready. Okay, now it's come together in a nice ball. You don't want to really knead it. because we're going to roll it out. So you can put it in the fridge for now. I'm going to put it in for a minute till I can set up my little area here. So I'll be back. Okay, well, I have my little area set up. This thing's really neat like I used before. And you can tell it says like 10-inch pie, 9-inch. That's for a pizza, tortilla, a tart. It really comes in handy. So I put a little bit of flour, put a little bit on the pin, put a little extra over there, just in case. Well, you want to roll it out from the center, always out. You got to use enough flour so it doesn't stick. Because if it sticks, you'll be in trouble. It's like, uh-oh. Now, there's nothing wrong. You know, I've used the puff pastry or the pre-used pie pans or the shells. They're a lot easier. But this is fun and it really turns out great. So let me jump ahead. Okay, now I have this done out to where it said the 9-inch, which is about there. Doesn't matter if it kind of comes apart because you can kind of, once it's in the pan, kind of put it back together. So, next step. Okay, I'm going to use my deep dish pan. I bought this last year. I just love it. You can tell you're into cooking when you get excited about cookware. But I've always had thinner pin. Okay, I'm going to use my deep dish pan. I bought this last year. I just love it. You can tell you're into cooking when you get excited about cookware. I've always had the thinner pie pans, and so I wanted something for quiches that were a little deeper. So we're going to use this. So I'm going to spray it with some spray. Okay, now it's been sprayed, so now we're going to try to unravel that dough on there. See if it works. Like that. Let's see. Yeah, pretty good. You can always adjust it. So let me get it all nice. And there we have it. It's not perfect, but it's homemade and it's going to be delicious. Once you get it filled and cooked, no one will see the little imperfections. But you don't be afraid to kind of patch it up. Because with that shortening, it kind of forms. See, like there was a little funny, but let's get on to the next step. And there we have it. It's not perfect, but it's homemade and it's going to be delicious. Once you get it filled and cooked, no one will see the little imperfections. But you don't be afraid to kind of patch it up. Because with that shortening, it kind of forms. See, like there was a little funny, but let's get on to the next step. Okay, well, I'm going to pre-bake this for about 10 minutes, so you want to prick a few little marks in the bottom. Don't go too crazy. And then you can either use parchment paper or foil. You're supposed to use weights or dried beans, but I'm going to improvise with an old plate I have. So I'm going to throw this in the oven, and then I'll be back for that filling. Now you add 3 eggs, and then you want to put in the sugar mixture. And then I'm going to set that there. Sorry, I bumped the camera. Then we're going to put a teaspoon of vanilla in there. Dump that baby in. That smells good. I love vanilla. It says it's from Madagascar. I'd like to see proof. Okay, well now I add a few little chopped ones, not too much. Just a little. There. And then we're going to add this whole bag of these beautiful pecans. Now in the beginning I showed the carnation milk. That's for another recipe I'm going to do with the pecans. It doesn't go in here. So you have this, you just mix it all up. Okay, and the last thing you add is 2 tablespoons of melted butter. Put that in. I like to stir it up first. Get those eggs kind of mixed in. There we go. And then you just finish it up. This is a simple, it's almost as simple as the pumpkin pie, but it's just, if you make the homemade crust, it's a little more work. but it's still a lot of fun. But the homemade and the store-bought, you know, they're both great. End result. It depends on if you have the inclination or the time to do it. If I had the puff pastry, to be honest, I probably would have used that. But I also wanted to show how to make that crust. So there we go. See, look at that. Beautiful. So we're going to put it in that pre-baked pie crust. I took it out of the oven. It's kind of cooled now, so let's fill it up. Well, here's the pre-baked pie crust. It's all ready. And we're going to pour this beautiful mixture in there. Watch this. Isn't that heaven? I think with this deep dish, they usually overflow when they cook, but I think with this it'll be okay. So there we have it. Looks a little sunken, but it'll be okay. Look at that. Beautiful. So let's put it in the oven. I preheated the oven. It was 350 and I cooked the shell for about 10 minutes. So we're going to put this in for about an hour to an hour and 10 minutes. Okay, well there it is, and it's going to go in now. So 350 for about an hour, 10 minutes. I'll be back. Okay, I think it's ready. I'd covered it with foil just so it doesn't get too done. Oh yeah, let's pull it out. Alright, it's done. Look at it. It looks beautiful. You have to kind of tell. It's hard. But usually when it's done like that, it's kind of puffed up. You can see. It's pretty nice. As an added bonus, I decided to do some pralines. It's just a cup of white sugar, a cup of brown sugar, or light brown, and then a dash of salt and a small can of evaporated milk. Then you want to get it kind of to a boil. Then we're going to lay it out on some parchment paper. Got to add a little butter too, and then it'll be ready. Okay, now it's off the heat. I put in a half a stick of butter and a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And so we're going to lay them out on this parchment paper. I'm not going to make them too big. Try to make them small. It's hard to get them about even. But we'll try. And then they're going to set. And they should be delicious. Another little praline Christmas treat. My aunt used to make these. My grandmother made beautiful peanut brittle. She'd send me, I remember the last box she ever sent me. And it was great. So I'm going to finish this up. Well, there they are all laid out, and I'm going to let them cool, and hopefully they'll solidify, and then we'll have a beautiful treat. So I'll show you when they're all done. Okay, well these are all set up now. If you can see, if I kind of bend it. See. So I'm going to wrap each one individually. I think I'm going to put a little ribbon on them. I think I'm going to bring some for a couple special people. I wish all of you could join me, and I want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a wonderful, healthy, happy 2020. Can you believe that? I can remember when it was 2000. Heck, I can remember when it was 1910. Well, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Well, here they are, all ready to go. Merry Christmas.